What, according to the passage, makes philosophy a greater thing than either science or religion for some people? Let's refer to the last line of the first paragraph. But the greatest men who have been philosophers have felt the need both of science and of mysticism. The attempt to harmonize the two was what made their life, and what always must, for all its arduous uncertainty, make philosophy to some minds a greater thing than either science or religion. Let us look at the options. Option A, its urgency in clarifying the need to treat science and mysticism the same way. This option talks of the same way which is not suggested by the line. Option B, its demand for drawing a common ground for both science and mysticism. This option can be inferred from the line as it talks of harmonizing science and mysticism. Option C, its clear way of separating myth from fact. The line does not talk of distinguishing myth from fact, but of drawing a common ground for both. Option D, both B and C. So, the correct answer to this question is option B. What can you say about the things that Heraclitus valued the most? The third line of the third para states that Heraclitus prizes the things that can be seen, heard, and learned the most. He writes, the things that can be seen, heard, and learned, he says, are what I prize the most. Let us look at the options. Option A, they were things that were observed by others. Option B, they were things that were palpable. Option C, they were things that were tangible. Option D, they were what could be perceived by the senses. We can see that option D is the best answer. Option A is incorrect because it talks of other senses, while options B and C are incomplete. They only talk of one sense, palpable or tangible, while the line talks of things that can be seen, heard, and learned. What can you infer from the passage above? Option A, that science and mysticism need not contradict each other. Let us refer to the penultimate sentence of the passage. It says, the comparison of this statement, which is mystical, with the one quoted by Plato, which is scientific, shows how intimately the two tendencies are blended in the system of Heraclitus. This supports option A, that it is not necessary for science and mysticism to contradict each other. Option B, that mysticism is the antithesis of science. This option is negating option A, the correct answer. So this option is incorrect. Option C, that philosophers follow both science and mysticism. This option cannot be inferred because the passage does not suggest that all philosophers follow both science and mysticism. It only states that the greatest philosophers have felt the need for both. Option D, all of the above. So the correct answer to this question is option A. What would make for an apt title for the passage above? Option A, unifier of facts and myths, the philosopher. The passage talks of the central role of philosophy in harmonizing science and mysticism. So option A seems apt. Option B, unification of seemingly concurring objects, science and mysticism. This passage does not suggest that science and mysticism coincide or are in harmony already. So we cannot say that option B would be a good title. Option C, science and philosophy. This option does not talk of mysticism, which is equally important as science in the passage. Option D, Plato and Heraclitus. This option does not mention the focus of the passage and only talks of certain philosophers who have been mentioned in the passage. So the correct answer to this question is option A, unifier of facts and myths, the philosopher. How, according to the passage, has metaphysics developed? Option A, through the union of two conflicting subjects. Option B, through the interaction of mysticism and science. Option C, through the human impulse that pulls beings in two contrasting directions. Option D, through the need of human beings to understand conflicting impulses. Let us refer to the very first line of the passage. Metaphysics has been developed from the first by the union and conflict of two very different impulses, the one urging men towards mysticism, the other urging them towards science. Let us look at the options again. Option A, the line talks of union and conflict, so option A would be incomplete. Option B, interaction. Interaction would talk of both union and conflict and hence would be a correct answer. Option C, through the human impulse that pulls beings in two contrasting directions. This option states that metaphysics has developed because of mysticism and science, while what the passage says is that metaphysics has developed due to the interaction of mysticism and science. Option D, it is irrelevant as the paragraph does not talk of the need of human beings to understand conflicting impulses. So the correct answer to this question is option B, through the interaction of mysticism and science. What, according to the passage, is the meaning of "you cannot step twice in the same rivers"? This saying is mentioned in the last paragraph of the passage. You cannot step twice into the same rivers, for fresh waters are ever flowing in upon you. Let us look at the options. Option A, nothing is permanent. This is a philosophical extension of the meaning of the saying. Option B, the water that is stepped into each time is different. The saying suggests that as the water keeps moving, even if you step into the same river, the water in which you would have stepped would have changed. So option B seems to be a correct answer. Option C, rivers along with other water bodies are transformed by fire. This option is irrelevant as the saying does not refer to a transformation by fire. Option D, only change is permanent. This option is also a philosophical extension of the meaning of the saying. So the correct answer to this question is option B.